This mistake cost me $20,000. Okay, I want to talk through my experience of what happened here and how I would have rectified it, and sort of hopefully you can learn from my experience, maybe in business, in life. I think this can apply to a lot of things. So the first year of my business, probably about 6 months in, I landed a decent contract. Money was starting to come in nicely, and it was almost like it wasn't so much a struggle. I had very little overheads, but I started to get a little bit trigger happy on business expenses and also personal expenses. First, I want to talk about the personal expenses. Like, it's very easy as a business owner or in life when you have a wage increase or when you have a bit of disposable income, if you're young, to start spending your money a little bit brashly or spending money on things you don't need. And this is for me personally. I started with that mentality of I've never really had money before. The first year I got a contract and things were coming in, and I was like, okay, I can buy this, or I can upgrade my car, or I can do this, I can sort of move out potentially. And I was like, yeah, and I lost a lot of money at that point. I was spending about $400-500 on fuel personally. I was going out a lot. I was doing all sorts. I bought a new Mac. Everything sort of started to compound upwards, and my expenses were going up very, very quickly. So a lot of businesses will say turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, and this is super true whether you're turning over money as an employee or as an employer or as a business owner. It's all about the net profit and how much at the bottom line. So that's how much money is coming in at the top, so your sales, and then after all your expenses, the net profit is what pays everyone's wages and everything off top of that. So I think that's super important. The personal expenses can mount up. In terms of the business expenses, again, it was very easy for me to spend money on tools, money on, don't get me wrong, I was spending money on things I needed, but I lost a lot of money in terms of Google AdWords, Facebook ads. I was trying to do everything. So the business expenses were going up very quickly as well. And I learned that after the first year, that I sat down with my accountant and he was like, where are you spending all your money? And I just saw like things that I didn't even know I was spending money on. And I was like, shit, I need to sort that out. So I did. I personally could afford, I worked it out. It wasn't necessarily I could afford. I personally worked out if I could hire someone to save me money in certain areas. First of all, it would take out a lot of headaches from me in management in terms of funding and money and paying things and doing all these jobs. I knew that I needed to free up my time. So not only did I save money, I actually helped me free up my time as an entrepreneur. I think as an entrepreneur, that's super, super important. I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs go wrong. They'll pretend to do everything or try and do everything at once. So I wanted to talk about my experience and that problem that in the first year I discovered, and now I'm very much saving for the future, but I'm reinvesting very hard. So I would say reinvest, but save at the same time, and make sure that you're not overextending yourself. I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs go from 0 to 100 and back to 0. You'll read all about millionaires that make it and then go bust and then they make it again, and that's because they're talented enough to do that. But you've got to try and weather storms and make sure, if your business is seasonal, for example, if it's the summer and things are going really well and you go buy loads of stuff, and then the winter comes and your motivation decreases and a little bit of work disappears or you lose a contract, this can happen. Like, you have to find the rule that is for you, like maybe an 80-20 rule, 60-50, 60% saving, 40% reinvestment. To be honest, I'm quite a hard reinvestor, and that's just me personally. I can't breathe if I'm not spending money on certain areas and growing and testing new stuff, whereas there's plenty of entrepreneurs out there that will have a lot of money saved up, and that's on a different spectrum. Like, I would say saving money too much can also be a problem. Like, the money in your bank account is not working for you. If you have really, really low overheads, you can reduce, or you can grow your business a lot more by investing relatively hard while saving at the same time. So it is a hard balance. I've spent a lot of money over the years, even now reinvesting in certain aspects, and I've made a lot of mistakes, as with I've made a lot of wins, but this is how it is, spending money to make money, obviously. But I would say try and cut off the fat, make sure that you're looking at your net profit and looking at your net income, so how much money is actually coming into my bank account every month after tax and everything, and making sure that you're cutting out a lot of the expenses that you don't need. Maybe a bookkeeper that you can employ to free up your time, because I think that's a great investment. Now, on paper, a bookkeeper doesn't necessarily make you money, but a bookkeeper can make you time, because I see a lot of business owners and even self-employed people just doing their own taxes, and they spend like 2-3 days just stressing over it. Whereas if you give it to a bookkeeper, it will take her or him a couple of days, and then that's job done. Those 2 days you can work on business development and everything in between. It's just frustrating to see certain business owners like that, but I wouldn't say I'll tell them how to run their business. I'll just say, this is what's working for me. I like to put people in the strongest areas. So having a bookkeeper is really like having someone that does that every day is obviously going to do it much better than you. Same with accounting. A lot of people go for a cheap accountant. In my opinion, find someone that's the best at their job. Pay that extra amount. Again, accountants, yeah, it's a different subject altogether, but I want to touch on, this is my experience, how that can hopefully help you. Please put in the comments below any questions around this subject, saving money, spending money, reinvestment. I love this subject, I love reinvestment, but you've got to be a little bit careful, and also stop spending money in certain areas if you can, and make sure that you can tighten your business, and net profit is the ultimate game. So yeah, comment below and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like my content, there's so much more coming soon, so please subscribe below. That's fine. We're going with one of them, whether you like it or not.